What's up, everybody? I just got done watching WrestleMania 37 Night 1. This video will be riddled with spoilers, so if you haven't seen it, go watch it, then come back. The show opened up with Bobby Lashley with MVP defeating Drew McIntyre and retaining his WWE Championship. Wow, I really enjoyed this match. What a great match, and honestly, a shocker. I'm sure everybody thought Drew McIntyre was going to regain his WWE Championship in front of fans. He's won it a couple of times now in front of no fans, so everyone expected him to get that moment and win the championship back in front of fans. But this is going to allow WWE to continue that storyline with Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre, possibly all the way to SummerSlam, who knows, and then maybe Drew will win it there. But you know, you're in a hard spot. It's a hard spot as a fan, at least for me. I want to see Drew McIntyre have a long run with it in front of fans because he deserves it. But I also want to see Bobby Lashley have a long run with it in front of fans because he definitely deserves it as well. He proved that he was not going to be a transition champion last night. He retained his WWE Championship. I loved the finish. I loved the match. I loved the shocker with them opening. Such a tremendous performance by both men. And can we give MVP a whole bunch of credit here? What a job he has done over the past year with the Hurt Business. Everybody in that faction, that stable, Bobby Lashley specifically, man. I don't know if it wasn't for MVP, all of these guys may not have become as big of stars as they have over the past year. He is definitely an MVP. True, though. Just crazy. Next up, we saw Tamina and Natalya win the women's tag team Turmoil match, meaning they will go on and wrestle tonight at WrestleMania Night 2. They will wrestle Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Looking forward to that match. I think Nia Jax and Shayna will probably retain, but I would love to see Natalya get a WrestleMania moment and win the Tag Team Championships at WrestleMania. She is one of the most solid performers, male or female, doesn't matter, of any wrestler anywhere in the world. She is so good. She's been with the WWE seemingly forever, and I would love to see her finally get that WrestleMania moment with Tamina and win the Women's Tag Team Championships. And then a career-defining moment for Cesaro as he defeated Seth Rollins. Okay, let's talk about that airplane spin for a second, shall we? How do you do that with no hands? Those two guys, the timing, the athleticism, the whatever else it takes to be able to spin somebody on your shoulders with no hands and not have them fall off, just crazy. But what a solid match. So good. Hopefully this leads to a push for Cesaro, another guy that's been there for a long time, that's been right on the cusp of breaking through many times, but never really broke through. Hopefully now we will see him in some great programs. Who knows? Maybe we will see him go for the WWE Championship against Bobby Lashley. Man, those would be some great matches. Who knows? But great match, great victory. The crowd was solidly behind Cesaro last night, and so well-deserved. I met him one time in Brooklyn years ago, and couldn't have been a nicer guy. So well-deserved, so pumped, so glad to finally see him get that moment. And then we saw AJ Styles and Omos defeat the New Day for the WWE Raw Tag Team Championships. AJ Styles becomes a Grand Slam winner. And man, Omos is, I'm saying that right? If not, I apologize. I'm horrible with names. He is going to be a star for years to come. The WWE has always been the land of the giants, but over the last couple of years, there hasn't been a lot of truly gigantic men like there was back in the day. Braun Strowman, of course, and I mean like height and size. Big E, of course, is gigantic as well, but he doesn't have that height. But WWE was always like height, like Diesel, Kevin Nash back in the day, Hulk Hogan, The Undertaker, now, along with Braun Strowman, of course, now, but Omos is gigantic, had an amazing night one at WrestleMania. AJ Styles now a Grand Slam winner. And what a great idea of pairing Omos with AJ Styles, kind of the new version of Shawn Michaels and Big Daddy Cool Diesel from back in the day. It's only going to help Omos learn and get better as time continues. Looking forward to see where they're going with this tag team. See how long it takes before they break up, and then AJ Styles and Omos have an amazing WrestleMania match like WrestleMania 11 between HBK and Diesel. Who knows? I'm very excited to see where that goes. Then we saw Braun Strowman defeat Shane McMahon inside of a steel cage. Very good matchup. Shane takes that crazy bump from the top of the cage. You knew something was coming from Shane at WrestleMania. But man, that toolbox shot to the top of Braun Strowman's head from the corner sounded and looked very gross. I don't know if there was a microphone inside that toolbox or if that was just Braun Strowman taking that thing to the dome. But whoo, that sounded brutal. And how amazing does Braun Strowman look for being over 350 pounds, somewhere between 350 and 400 pounds, to have abs. For someone that's in the bodybuilding like me, that's extremely hard to do at my size, let alone his size. Next to impossible. That guy looks amazing. What a performance. I truly hope they keep pushing him as the main eventer that he should be. Another gigantic human being, like I said, in WWE has always been the land of the giants. So I really hope this continues as a solid push for Braun Strowman, and he is pushed back into that title picture as well. So many guys I want to see in the title picture. Cesaro, Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre, Braun Strowman. The possibilities right now are endless for that WWE Championship title picture. And then we have Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest versus The Miz and John Morrison. I'm going to go out on a limb. Off the top of my head, probably the best celebrity match of all time. Of course, Bad Bunny had a couple of issues, but it's his first match. He's not a wrestler. Your first match at WrestleMania. How many people have had WWE match or your first ever match period at WrestleMania? Fandango debuted at WrestleMania a few years ago, but that wasn't his first match. Off the top of my head, Lawrence Taylor absolutely crushed it. His one and only wrestling match was at WrestleMania 11. Ronda Rousey's first ever match was at WrestleMania. Absolutely crushed it. Bad Bunny, first ever and possibly, I'm sure he's going to wrestle again, but possibly his one and only ever match, WrestleMania. LT did a fantastic job, but Bad Bunny was out there doing stuff. Canadian Destroyer on the floor. Who saw that coming? Bad Bunny definitely showed that he was working hard, and with his insane, massive popularity, I have zero issues. I'm actually a fan of what they were doing with him and Damian Priest, putting Damian Priest in the spotlight as well. That guy is going to go on to be a massive, massive star. And of course, The Miz and John Morrison just knocking it out of the park every single time. The Miz has been one of the best performers the WWE has had over the years. That's why he's always given this position. And John Morrison's hair, whoo, absolutely love it. That guy looked like $7 trillion last night. He always does, but he was looking extra good last night. I'm such a big fan of The Miz and John Morrison. I've met both of them. I met The Miz in Brooklyn. I've met John Morrison. He actually did a show in my local area, just like AJ Styles did as well. I've met a lot of people on this card. Let me see. Just before I get to the main event, because I didn't meet you the two of those. I've met Bobby Lashley. I've met Natalya. I've met Cesaro, Seth Rollins, AJ, Kofi Kingston. Big E wasn't there, but I've met him. I've met The Miz and John Morrison as well. Woo! Very cool for me. But yeah, great tag match. Really enjoyed it. And then in the main event, a historic main event, which saw Bianca Bel-Air defeat Sasha Banks for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship. And those ladies went out there and absolutely crushed it. Historic, only the second time the women have ever main event at WrestleMania, and the first time two African-American wrestlers headlined WrestleMania. The first time two African-American women headlined WrestleMania. Just a historic event. Bianca Belair's first WrestleMania, right? Was she in like a battle royal or anything at any other time? But doesn't matter. What a main event. Bianca Belair, that whip with the hair was crazy. The welt on the side of Sasha Banks' body, just absolutely insane. The spot where she picked her up from after that dive, picked her up, walked her up the stairs, and put her back in the ring. Woo! How do you do that? That is it. Sasha Banks isn't the biggest person alive. Sure, she's small, but she is a human being. The balance that takes to walk upstairs with her over your head and not drop Sasha on those steps, unreal. Do that with your baby and see how much balance. Don't do that with your baby. But just imagine doing that with your baby or your child and not fearing you're going to drop them on that steps. Those ladies went out there, absolutely crushed it, more than deserved that main event spot last night. Super pumped, super happy for them. Sasha makes a star out of Bianca Belair. How moving and touching was it to see Bianca Belair tear up at the beginning of that match and then go out there and absolutely tear the house down with Sasha Banks. I'm super pumped for Bianca Belair. Excited to see where things now go for Sasha Banks as well. And tonight is WrestleMania night 2. I'm so excited, so pumped if you can't tell already. Oh man, WrestleMania night 2, WWE Network in my area, Peacock if you're in the United States. I don't know what it is around the rest of the world, but I am so pumped. WrestleMania night 2, let's go.